Welcome to the Hive, everybody. Today we have a talented Speedway rider who's very well known. And to start off the week, we're doing a Northern California week in the Hive. All Northern California! Welcome to the Northern California week in the Hive. And we have a really great week. It's all Northern California week, starting with the amazing Russell Green, the Rocket, in the Hive. Then following Russell, we have the promoter of Fast Fridays, the one, the only, Dave Joyner. After Dave, we have a rider, a very good young rider, very talented, Mr. Reese Todd. It's going to be an all Northern California week this week in the Hive. You're not going to want to miss it. We may have some surprise visitors, so stay tuned. All week, Northern California is in the Hive. Northern California in the Hive. Be there! Be there! Hey, we have a very good show today. You're not going to want to miss this one. We have a really talented, gifted young rider. This guy's good. This guy's burning it up out there. And we're really proud to have him on the show because he's really good. And we'd like to introduce the one, the only, the Rocket, Russell Green. Russell.
How's it going, everybody?
Hey, it's Russell. Hi, bud. How you doing?
Pretty good, pretty good. Relaxing.
You relaxing from last night?
Yes, sir. Relaxing. Drove home last night. Washed the bike this afternoon. Went to the store, picked up a few things for the dog, and just got done finishing up dinner and relaxing, getting ready to sit down with the fiance.
Nice. Oh, that's great. So how did you do yesterday, or what was your final result?
Final result was fourth in the semi. Lifted a little too much. Picked the wrong line. Clutch was feeling a little spongy. Just the race before that. But overall, it was a good night. Started off with 2 wins. A second in the third race, and finished off the night with the fourth in the semi. 8 points overall. So yeah, it was a good night.
Yeah, that's definitely respectable. We have a race we're going to show right now of, I think it's one of your second race or first race. We're going to watch it right now. Russell Green.
Parking all these trucks and bikes here today, so it's just been absolutely fabulous. It's been a great first start, and we are so happy to be out here entertaining you fans, and we hope we are entertaining you here. But it's now time to get back to another Pro Speedway heat. In this race, we have got the awesome 321. He's right there. It's the Rocket Russell Green. He'll be joined by the 27 of Blake Borello. The 399 living that redneck life. It's Rhett and Todd, and he'll be joined, rounding out the crew, with the 168 of Mark Philibrown. All right, we're getting everybody lined up here, and we'll start them off in style. Great to see Mark Philibrown out here. 2019, Mark Philibrown was the Division III West Coast champion. And look at it, 2021, he's riding pro. Here they go. But starting us off with a bang is going to be the Rocket, Russell Green. Russell Green, one of the big names in Northern California Speedway. And it's a weird thing about something being in the air, because back when he used to race a few years ago in Southern California, he didn't do so hot, but he moved up to Northern California, got his life straightened out, and now he's kicking chicken on the track. The Rocket Russell Green are racing for Gnarly Custom Candy, Team SOS, Justin Cycles, and more. He once won a 25-lap main event at Fast Fridays, and now he's taking checkered here in Bakersfield. It's the Rocket Russell Green with the win. Rhett and Todd comes in second, and Blake Borello will wrap that one up in third. And we've got one more group of four.
That was pretty good, Russell.
That's a great way to start the night right there.
Wow. We got our first text from Aaron Fox. He says, "Big Russ."
What's happening, Aaron? The guy's a stud right there.
That guy's badass, Aaron Fox. That guy can ride.
Great competition. He's a tough guy to beat there. He's actually a big part of Kern County Speedway, getting that track set up and helping the guys make sure the track was dialed with the dirt and all that good stuff. And he threw a lot of knowledge out there for them to help them get that prepared for this last weekend. So
he
big
was
thanks
there,
to
right?
Aaron Fox on that.
He was there a lot, right?
Yes.
Working on
Yep.
it.
Yep. Yeah, he
Testing.
was there doing a lot of testing and talking to it was Brad Sauer and his brother and the crew that run the track, and Steve Evans as well. So yep, he's a big part in the American Speedway. So big shout out to him, and thank you for everything you do for the sport, man.
He's a great ambassador. We had him on the show last week, and that guy's cool, and two-time United States champion, humble guy, ambassador to the sport. He's a
Keeps
great
you honest
guy.
on the racetrack too, man. He does his job, that's for sure.
I think he's a hard rider to beat, Aaron Fox.
Yeah, he is top-notch professional rider right there.
Yeah, he's clean, he's fast, he's bad, and he's a two-time United States Speedway national champion.
Good. I'll get there one day.
Yeah, he did back-to-back, so you could do back-to-back-to-back, three of them.
That's too much stress for me, man. I think one would be good enough for me, and I'll be happy. I'll call it.
Hey, you can do it. It's all a matter of mindset. You have to think like Aaron. You have to have that really, positive, focused mindset, like Aaron said on the show, and you can achieve your dreams.
You're right. You do. You do. Aaron's been telling me that for the last few years to just keep my head up and keep going and plugging away. And yeah, he's got the right goal and right mindset for it.
And he's right. He's definitely right. And
Just,
your riding really has improved a lot. I mean, we've all been watching your rides at the best pairs at Paris Speedway last
oh, hmm.
this past few weeks ago, the race, and you're a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah. Just like you said, it's that mindset. I changed my mindset within the last few years, actually, since I moved up here to Northern California. Just kind of slowed myself down a little bit with my thinking process and trying to stop stressing on things as much. But it's hard with the way I've grown up and just trying to rush everything, get everything done right away. But I'm working on that, and we'll get there to where uh, I'll be there.
Oh yeah, you're showing big signs of improvement. I think everybody texting me saying, "Boy, Russell's really, you could just see something's changing in Russell. He's really doing good." What was the change, Russell? Like moving up to Northern Cal, like from South. What was some of the things that you've noticed that have made a difference in improving yourself?
The biggest thing is just the atmosphere, the people you're around has a big part and a big role to do with it. I was just Southern California, just growing up there and wanting to get away my whole life and didn't think I was ever going to do it. Kind of just fell into a bad place and a rough patch after losing my father, and then my sister and my mom. My mom moved me up here to Northern California with some family, and yeah, they got my head straight, and from then on, just kind of slowed down and started taking care of myself, and started thinking more about family and stuff like that, and more about my racing rather than just having fun and being young and dumb like I was before. So it growing up a lot, honestly, is a big part of it too.
That's great. Hey, don't worry about it, Russell. We've all been there, and we've all had tough times in our life, and we all had to overcome these things. And I guess that's part of life is, developing and growing and becoming a better person than you were before.
You're right. Yeah, that's the biggest thing. Every day, that's what I try to do. Wake up and tell myself, if I don't, if there's not a positive person in my life, try to be that, or try to be the positive person uh, for somebody else if they don't have it themselves. So, yeah.
That's great. Yeah. It's always good to do that in life. For a long time, I didn't have a dad. And then I went to this guy and I said, "Hey, I don't know how to be a father because I didn't have a dad. Like, what do I do?" And he said, "Be the dad that you never had, be that good person, that shining light to somebody, and forget about your past, like the bad things that happened to you. You go ahead and give back the things that you didn't have. So if you had, troubles or problems or whatever, you be that person to help other people and give back. And then that will make you feel really good. Instead of crying and saying, 'Oh, I had a bad life,' say, 'Hey, I want to be the better man and be that person that maybe I never was or I never had.' So it's
Hmm.
good to rise above it and be that good person. And I actually, I learned a lot from that statement, to be that person, to be that dad that I never had, and be that good person maybe that wasn't around me. And so that helped me in my whole attitude.
Yep. That's true. Like, I grew up with just my mom for most of my life. My dad lived out of a different state, and so I didn't get to see or hear from him too much growing up, like probably like you did. And Charlie Venegas, I grew up around the corner from him in San Bernardino. Uh, and when my first few years racing speedway, and he kind of took me in under his wing, and I grew up watching him race before that, and went to his track there in San Bernardino at AMS, American Motor Speedway, in between the times it was IMS. And yeah, he taught me a lot, and taught me a lot about being humble, and keeping to myself, and just keeping strong and staying forward, and keeping my head up, and doing everything I can to keep riding every night, and don't let everybody push me out the way. So he's kind of like a father figure for me.
Good. Yeah, he's a great guy, Charlie Venegas. He's another true professional, Charlie.
Yes, he is. He's done a lot for my racing career, along with a few other people behind the scenes besides my mother, who's pretty much backed me up 150% more than anybody has, besides my fiance now is kind of taking her place, but nobody will ever take my mom's place. So.
Yeah, Jerry's great lady. She's always there, like in the pits, and she's the first one to help clean your tires, and she's like super mom.
Yeah. There's times where I won't want to change setup, and I think it's perfect, and she's telling me to change it, and we would argue back and forth. Yeah, she was my mechanic from pretty much the start of my career, and I couldn't thank her enough for being there for me. I don't think I'd still be racing if it wasn't for her. Honestly, yeah, she's my hero for my racing.
Well, I know she's really proud of you because, like, when you were riding like the junior speedway bikes, she came up to me and she was talking about you, and she was saying, we're so proud of my son Russell, and we want him to be a speedway rider, and he wants to be a racer, and she was really all into it. And I'm like, wow, you got a good mom, and so she's always been behind you 110%. Like when you were just a little guy, when you were just a little junior rider.
Yeah, she wanted me to go to follow my dreams and my goals, and that way, we've had a few people in our family that have kind of followed down the wrong path, and she didn't want me going that route either. So she knew that speedway and motorcycles has been my passion, and so she knew that would be my out from staying out of trouble, and probably helped me graduate school as well. Probably would have been a high school dropout, or who knows. I probably could have graduated without Speedway too, but yeah, Speedway was a big part of my life of being, keeping out of trouble and staying off the streets. So
that's great.
Got to thank my mom for that, for pushing me to do it. And there's times where I wanted to quit, and she wouldn't let me. So yeah. Plus, I got to think about how much time, money, sweat, and tears she put into it for me to make it to the track every night. So yeah, I couldn't quit even if I tried.
That's really great. I remember when you were a young rider, up until just a few years ago, even you used to wear like the motocross outfit and stuff like that, and then I said, I wonder when Russell's gonna get like a pair of Kevlars or leathers.
Yeah, it took a while. I rode the moto gear throughout my whole junior career, and then I think a year or two in my 500 career, and then John DeFries gave me a pair of his old suit, and I rode those for a while. My mom actually sewed all of the patches and the numbers and everything on the suit for me, and that one's still hanging up in the closet to this day, and I'll try it on every once in a while just to see how it fits, and yeah, it's super tight. I'm way too tall for it. And then I've had a few other hand-me-downs, and finally got my second suit. That one actually fits like the John DeFries suit does now, but I still wear it. Got to support those sponsors, and actually feel more comfortable with it being a little tighter than it does a little looser. So starting to figure out the importance of having a suit that's made and fit for yourself has a big role of being comfortable on your bike.
Oh, for sure. So your suit now is a little tight, correct? It's a little
Yeah,
tight.
just a little bit. And then when I had my collapsed lung back in August, and I jumped up to 140 pounds. Normally it was 130 before that. And when the suit came back, it was a little tight. And then I had put on the 140 pounds, or went up to 140 pounds, which was 10 pounds more than what I was. And then I really didn't fit into it. So the beginning of this season of 2021, a couple of nights I rode my 2019 season, which was my first ever suit that I got custom made for myself. And that suit actually fit very well. But yeah, this suit now, with it being a little tighter, I kind of like it, but we're gonna find a little few tweaks to fix for it so it fits better and I'm more comfy with it.
It's hard to make a suit bigger. It's nicer you can trim it down a bigger suit, but it's difficult to make a small suit, bigger or something.
Yeah, but it's a good thing that black kind of goes with everything. So I think we're gonna add a little black seam on the inside, since everything's kind of like camo, and it's a pink and purple camo with a little bit of black, blue, and I think silver and gray. So we'll figure out, get it to work. We're kind of holding off right now with the whole COVID-19. Not sure how long it'll take, if it'll get stuck there at their customs, and then probably get stuck at our customs on the way back. So I'm gonna ride it out, see how long I can make that suit last without blowing a hole in it. But
so you have to send that suit to England. You have to send to England or something.
I'll have to send that one to Poland. I got it made from a guy out there, company called Golden Panther. I believe they made a few of the bibs for Greg Hancock when he rode over there in Sweden and Denmark, Germany, and stuff like that. And I'm still trying to keep up with it. It's a new company to me, and just trying to get them over here in the States. There's a lot of different companies to go through, and just trying to figure out the most cost efficient and the most reliable suit out there on the market. So, yeah.
Very good. So you started off your speedway career in like 2005 in like the juniors. Is that correct?
Yep. I started out on a Honda 125. When I got the bike, it was perfect size for me. And then by the time the season started, I was about 1.5 feet, 2 feet too tall for the bike and struggled riding it. And then a bunch of the fans got together and bought a bike and presented it to me there at the infield at City of Industry during halftime. And that bike pretty much turned around my whole journey with Speedway. So.
I remember those days. I was racing at Industry in 2005 also, and I remember you being so tall for your bike, and you didn't really ride that bike very good, I think, from what I remember.
Yeah, no, I didn't. And it didn't help not really knowing how to ride a Speedway bike either. So, yeah, trying to learn on a bike that's not the right size is definitely not the way to start out a sport like this. It's like trying to, go out in a pro or amateur class on a like Honda 85 or something, and it's not going to work. You're going to go out there looking like a goon and struggling. So, yeah, I did that at first for a little bit, and it is what it is. It taught me a lot and taught me a lot to grow as a rider and just keep going, and I'll figure it out one day.
Exactly. That's what I tell all the riders that come on the show. I just tell them, like, no matter what your start is, like your start was a little like shady with that small bike, it was difficult, but you just got to stay with it. You have to just not quit, and you just have to ride it out. And lucky for you, you got a new bike, and it really started flipping your luck around.
Yeah, it did. My whole thing was just trying to learn how to ride the bike in control and not be, a hazard on the track to other riders. And before the speed came on, and now it's, the speed's progressing now, and now I'm starting to realized I should have been trying to go for the speed from the get-go instead of trying to worry about just riding. Everybody else just worried about going as fast as they could from the get-go, so I probably should have too.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's all, everyone has their own progression and stuff. And, everyone has their own sort of style and their own level of riding and stuff. So what really matters, Russell, is where you're at today. And you're doing really good today. So that's really, amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, we're
You know,
plugging away, doing the best we can with what we got, and that's all we can do.
Yeah. So, like I say, I run into so many riders. One of the amazing things about like just seeing so many speedway people and riders, and it's just everyone progresses. I mean, if you stay with the sport and you really work hard and you listen to the top level riders teaching you tips, I mean, everybody gets better and better. Everybody, not just one person, everybody. And so it's those people that stay with it that keep, like yourself, that, go at the higher level.
Right. Yeah. There's a lot of guys that are moving up fast and that have been around for a long time too, that are still working their way through the ranks, like myself, and we all just need to keep pushing each other and kind of help keep the sport going.
Yeah. Well, you're doing good, and a lot of all the young riders really are doing really good. And there's like I mentioned last night and probably the night before, there's a lot of really good talent, in the speedway, young talent coming up right now.
Yes, there is. There's you got a lot of the 250 riders that just moved up. You got the Dion brothers. Sebastian Palmesi moved up a couple years ago. He was actually my best pairs partner last month there at Paris. We rode pretty well together. He's been definitely from pretty much from his 250 season. Everybody knew that he was going to be a challenge and one of the top guys to beat. And the Rummel brothers, when they moved up from their 250 class, they were right there at the 500 pace on their 250s. The level of the speedway classes are from the junior level Honda or the 125s to the 250s. They've just progressed compared to what it was when I was riding the junior class, and they're all hungry, battling, and it's only going to make it harder for guys like myself as I get older to like Billy Gennaro. He's flying, he's killing it, he's always going to, and everybody wants to be there where he is, and that's pretty much how those kids are going to be when Billy stops riding, and like guys like Max and Dylan, they'll be here riding, and the younger guys are going to keep up trying to want to beat them as well. So yeah, it's just going to be a cycle of the battle of the fittest.
Yeah, it's going to be a good battle too, I think.
Oh yeah, it's going to be great. As we get older, we're only going to get better, or we're going to get worse, and we're slowly going to start falling apart as we get older. And these young riders are going to start tearing us apart. We're going to be out there like Sean McConnell, Bobby Schwartz, and Bart Bass, and Charlie V. Battling out, teaching them how it's done, and then they're going to be teaching us how it's done, hopefully.
Yeah, the guys. I always say that Speedway is a young man's sport at the high level, and of course, everyone can ride Speedway at any age. But
that's a lie. You remember Hugh Randolph?
Yeah,
that guy at 70 years old out there killing it, man, in the second and third, like just about ready for second division, killing it in the third division class.
It was cool.
It don't matter the age. It's all, like you said, it's all about the mindset and the drive on what you want to do.
Exactly.
And, you're never too old to stop moving. Once you stop moving, that's when your body falls apart, right?
Yep, that's right. Yeah, I mean, I was kind of referring to like the high level of like Max Romo and Brock, when you're riding, going to Europe and stuff. That's a young man's sport to go at that level for sure. But to ride and enjoy Speedway, anybody can do that, including all of us, Hugh and everybody.
Yeah, you're right. You're right on that point.
You know, and
Don't forget Greg Hancock and Jason Crump. They're still out there. Well, Hancock, he just retired last season. Jason Crump, I think, kind of tried to capitalize on that and jump back into it and said, all right, I'm still at that age and I'm still moving. It's my time to shine again.
exactly. Oh yeah, I mean, you know, and Speedway is a lot of fun to ride. So I wonder how people like Bruce Penhall, they say, I just hang up my uniform and I'm really pretty much never going to race again. I mean, it's hard because it's like a boxer. A boxer doesn't want to quit fighting, and a Speedway rider doesn't want to quit riding Speedway.
Oh yeah, I couldn't imagine, you know, what those guys are going through or what they went through when it was time for them to, you know, hang up the steel shoe and the helmet and the leathers. It was probably one of the hardest things they could have ever done. You know, Speedway is what they knew and what they drove for years, and what they, you know, they put their blood, sweat, and tears into. So yeah,
And
that's got to be a rough thing to let go of. It's almost like losing a family member. I can only imagine.
Oh yeah, and I'm sure like I have the urge to ride all the time, even though I'm not Bruce Penhall. But everyone has the urge to go out and spin a couple hot laps. You know, open the throttle wide open and like, you know, bust it loose and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you can always go out and spin a few practice laps, but I mean, like for me, going out and riding practice, it's never the same as going out and dumping the clutch when the tapes go up. It's never that same feeling. I can go out there and spin 4 laps in the middle of a full season and still be in my prime, ready to go. And I'll go out there first 4 laps of practice and get arm pumped, but I'll go out there and I can pull a full night of racing without getting arm pumped. So yeah, practice is completely different than you know, being out there on the track, I think.
Oh, for sure.
So, but yeah, you'll always have fun no matter what though with it.
Yeah, you could go out even practice just to like have fun, to go out and like, you know, open the throttle up. Even like some of the older guys may not want to get hurt, you know, so that would be fun. But you're right, riding, you know, lining up with, you know, 3 or 4 other guys and, you know, going to the turn, you know, going for it, wanting to beat their ass, you know, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a mindset, like you said. Yeah, practicing and racing, it's completely different. But then you still got a few guys that go out there and nowadays that go out on a race night because, you know, that's all they have. You know, we don't.
Yeah.
Speedway doesn't have, as you know, practice tracks like the motocross guys do, and so they have no choice but to go out there and spin laps on a race night.
A lot of guys do that, right? A lot of riders, almost everybody does that.
Yep. Almost everybody, you know, almost every Speedway rider has no choice for that.
Right.
A lot of practice tracks, you either got to be in the know the people that have, you know, their private tracks at home in their backyards, or you know, Speedway, we get chased out a lot because we're kind of a hazard and for the liability for the insurance companies. So it's hard for the Speedway guys to get out there, and you know, a lot of it has to do with like our promoters getting us out there.
Oh yeah, that's true. It's too bad because it's kind of getting worse and worse, you know.
Yep.
I look at England, all these tracks closing, you know, Coventry and all these tracks, you know, it's horrible.
Yeah, it's slowly turning into like what American Speedway did over there. There's just not as many people that are into the sport, and you know, the country is also growing too, so they're going to need more places for housing and stuff like that. So yeah,
that's
motorsports, we kind of get ran out from the civilians as they, you know, we start to grow. Not everybody's into the motorsports anymore.
Well, the land becomes very valuable, Russell, and people that own that land, you know, look at developers flashing big money and retirement money, and they're like, okay, I think I'll sell.
Yeah, that's true. And what like for what they get out of it for like they're liable for if like the riders and stuff like that get hurt on their land, and the what they make out of it, for the what they rent it out to their clients, they can make more and be able to go, like you said, retire. Yeah.
Right. Oh yeah. I mean, I
I
look
look
at tracks like Hackney Speedway. I mean, I don't know exactly the number, so don't quote me, but there's a lot of speedway riders that died racing at Hackney, including Denny Pyatt, rest in peace. And I mean, I can't imagine what kind of life, just the hassle of people dying left and right on your track. That's bad.
Yeah, that's a lot to go to have on your shoulders and go to sleep with, and you think about, you don't think about stuff like that at first, but then you have to, as like being able to afford the health insurance. Those companies make you think about it, and it opens your eyes, and you don't want to get sued and stuff like that. So yeah, you really have to think about it before you go out and open up a track and bring somebody in, and like a group of people in. Even though they sign those contracts that are signed, there's always loopholes and people that want to try to do stuff like that nowadays. So yeah, you definitely got to be careful and think about your P's and Q's and get your ducks in the line before you give the green light. Yeah,
Exactly.
I mean, if I could do it, I would definitely open up a speedway track, but I got too much going on, and my head moves way too fast to try to get one set up for.
Well, maybe one day.
Everybody.
Maybe one day, Russell. Maybe one. You're still young.
I think I could probably manage a team that'd be a lot more efficient and more. What is it? Realistic for me, I should say. I'd rather be able to help younger riders come up and help them, see them out on the track, and like say when I'm ready to retire, definitely going to be out there sponsoring younger riders and hopefully get a team together and like Team SOS and MXRC a few years back did with Billy Gennaro, Tommy Hedden, Tyson Burmeister, Michael Rains, and it's that's what it's about. I think if we have more teams like that here in the States, it'll help us grow the sport more, because then we can be more like the other countries and have the team battles, and like Steve Evans has the team racing. It wouldn't be just an individual sport. You could still have like the AMA rounds and stuff like that. So it'd be cool to see more of a team thing come over here to the United States.
Oh, for sure. No,
it'll help. It'll help get riders overseas, and it'll probably get more overseas riders over here and get it back to how it was back in the day.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, the more tracks, the more, the team riding's really exciting. And, you get these teams like SOS now. We had them on the show a couple days ago, right before the race, and they're really just neat. The whole team is real happy. They're really into it, and it's just everything's positive.
Yeah, that's a very energetic group right there. I got to next to guys over the weekend. I'm very thankful to be part of that team right there with the Team SOS. Lawrence McNutt does a lot for the industry, and he's going to keep doing a lot, it looks like. And big shout out to them and the team that they got going.
They definitely have it going, and we want to definitely thank Lawrence for all the hard work and dedication and investment into the Speedway. He's really doing a great job, and the boys are all really happy. Everything's kind of like working good.
Yeah, it's a nice little family over there that they got going on, and that's how it should be for a team. It'll they'll progress, and they got Kyle Cunningham, Michael Wells, Aiden, Lawrence's son, Sammy Tetchell. They're all great guys, clowns. They like to have fun. That's Speedway. We're all a bunch of clowns, anyways. We all do our own thing, and we're all a little bit on the wild side and like to have a good time. And that's what it's all about. You're not gonna, it's not a good time if you're not having fun.
No, it's not. All speedway riders are a little bit wild and crazy because you have to be a little bit like nutty to be a speedway rider.
Yeah, you do. We're not all there. We don't really have the same thought process as everybody else does. So
that's true. Yeah, speedway riders are a unique breed of riders.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those the motocross riders, the freestyle motocross riders. Those guys say we're crazy, and we say they're crazy. So it's
I still say they're crazy. Those guys are crazy.
Yeah, well, they're upside down, and we got no brakes, so
it's yeah. Well, I'm not much of a jumper, but I saw one guy at Costa Mesa when I was racing a few years when you were a youngster, and the guy was jumping at Brad always had those jump nights, about 1 or 2 a year, and one guy, he jumped and he missed the jump and he landed like before the jump or something, and he totally destroyed his leg. I mean, the bone was popping out and the guy was screaming. I was there. I was like right there on the infield. And I'm watching this guy, and I'm like, I will never be a jumper. I will never do this.
Yeah, and I'm sure they say the same thing about us when they see us going into the wall wide open, and we're still not shutting off.
No.
Well, we're shutting off, but it doesn't look like it to them because they don't realize our back wheel's spinning so fast, and then it finally stops spinning and catches that speed, and we got no choice but to hang on and go.
Especially those small tracks like Fast Fridays and Costa Mesa. You hit that wall fast.
Yeah, and those walls don't move. Those are some solid walls. City of Industry has a little bit of give with the foam padding behind the wall to help cushion keep from hitting that concrete barrier on the other side. To me, Costa Mesa is like running into a hockey wall. I got to run into those when I was on the racing on the ice for the Extreme International Ice Racing Series. And I hit the wall in there, and that wall did not budge. And I've seen a few people hit the wall at Costa Mesa, and it's probably moved like a half inch, and that's about it. And that's a rough hit. It's not fun.
I think people break the wood. They actually go through the wood. That's bad.
Yeah, it's like a 1 inch sheet of plywood, and it's tough. It's made to stop us and keep us from going through and hitting the fans, and it does its job.
Oh yeah. It doesn't protect the riders real well, but it certainly protects the people in the stands.
Yeah. We don't have to think about that. All we think about is just getting that checkered flag at the end of the race, and those are just minor consequences that happen to come along with the risks and the chances that we take.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you can, everyone rides different, so it's hard to like tell people what to do. But the more you can, it depends on the track, but the more you can stay a little bit closer, especially a small track, to the pole. I think on like Costa Mesa, I think you're doing a little better than going out.
Yeah, Costa Mesa, you definitely want to stay on the pole there. There's a handful of people that can make the outside work there. Billy Gennaro, Brock Nickel, Max Rommel. There's just a very tight-knit crew that can do it. I've tried. Every time I do, I just feel like I'm just out there in no man's land. I definitely stick to the pole there. Growing up, everybody's told me the fastest way around the track's the pole. And I think they're right, but definitely the outside sometimes is a challenge, and I like a challenge. So you'll probably see me out there a lot more than I should be, and that'll cost me a lot of points and probably a lot of races than what I should be going for. But hey, it is what it is. You take chances. Fast Eddie Castro liked him, and he made him work. So I figured he's a nice, small, light guy, and I'm nice and light. I could do it too. But
Yeah. It's really fun. I mean, it's fun to go on the outside like Eddie and like Gennaro and stuff. I can't do it myself, but it looks like a blast. I've tried it and I just spin marbles and I don't do very good, but it looks like fun.
That's how I feel there at like Costa Mesa. I feel like I'm just kind of spinning marbles, but like Auburn, City of Industry, there's a little bit more dirt, and the dirt's different, so it's a little bit tackier and a little chunkier. The moisture is different. So like Billy Gennaro, man, he rides those tracks on the outside like nobody else, and the way he does it, I don't understand it. I've tried. I get out there. Sometimes I can do it, and then there's times where I can't hold on, and then there's times where other guys get out there and they do the same thing. And there's a few rides where I've seen Billy struggle too, and it's like, all right, I don't feel so bad going out there. And then Billy goes out, and then the next race, and it's like no big deal. And a lot of it too has to do with that setup, and the way you enter the corner. And Billy, he's got that muscle to man the bike around, and me, I'm so light. I do everything I can to just hang on. The Rommel brothers, they got a little bit more weight, so they can throw the bikes around. So yeah, I'm slowly starting to figure out how to get the traction and the power to the ground with my weight.
Exactly. Yeah, we had Sarah Cords on the show a couple days ago, and she's only like 5'1", 100 pounds.
Yeah, and she's a little thing, and she gets that bike wound up and going.
She gets going really fast for 5'1", 100 pounds. I mean, she gets ripping for that little gal.
Yeah, she does, and oh, calm down, buddy. Sorry, my dog's getting excited. She's got that bike figured out on a slick track. I think being that light, kind of like with myself, it kind of bites you in the butt a little bit. It makes it hard to keep up. Sometimes it makes it a little easier too, because then we don't blow past the corner as easy with the power of the motor in the back wheel. So she'll get it figured out, and she's slowly moving up. She's one of the faster girls that has figured out the speedway bike and is not afraid of the power of the 500s. There's been a lot of females that have come up through the ranks from the 250s and the junior class, like Crystal Kramer, I believe Bobby Cripps's daughter. She rode speedway for a little bit there, and there's a few other females that did. And
Courtney Crone was one of them.
Courtney Crone, she was there for a little bit. She had the 250 dialed, and then I think she's got a better career there in the cars. And she was in the cars before she was on the bike, and I think she was just kind of dabbling with a little bit of everything there, and getting her foot on every motorsport she could, and see which one she liked the most. And more power to her. Go there with the cars.
Nice. Yeah, we want to see her in the Indianapolis 500. That would be cool.
Right? That'd be cool to see her go further than Danica Patrick. And Haley Deegan, that's another female competitor for her right there. But, she's not going to be there in the NASCAR series. So, yeah, like you said, the Formula One series, that'd be cool to have a female on there again.
She's a very talented racer, so I wouldn't count her out at all.
Yeah, she's very smart and thinks about where she needs to be and all the right things to do, and she doesn't complain, and she's got it figured out.
Yeah, no doubt. She's good. There's a lot of talent. The only problem I see with the women, the female riders and speedway in particular, is from what I've seen, and maybe I'm wrong, but what happens a lot of times, just in the past, in the history, for example, like Bobby Hunter, she was a really fantastic D1 star. And when you race Bobby, when you're a D1 rider, when you race Bobby, you had to really give it all you have, to beat her because she's really good. But she told me her biggest problem was when she had a severe crash. That was it. Like girls are fragile. I mean, when they have a heavy, massive blow like we have all the time in Speedway. And it tends to kind of pull the girls down a little bit when they have a real severe injury or severe crash.
Yeah, it's a little bit more eye opening, and kind of like makes them think about their safety and stuff like that. Being a female, they provide for the children and stuff like that. So I think that's what a lot of it has to do with their motherly instincts come into play, and it's like, should I really be doing this, or should I keep going? And us guys, we're just they always say stuff like this, we're always going to die first, but we don't think at all. When it comes to certain things like that, we just want to go out, have fun, and do it. But yeah, it's the girls and the guys. It's definitely a touchy subject there with any industry. But yeah, the girls the girls are coming up into in every sport: football, UFC, Speedway, NASCAR. So yeah, we're definitely going to start seeing a lot of them coming around. And you got like Haley Peralt. She was always a good competitor. She'd always come out the gate, and even when like my nights that I struggled, yeah, she'd give me a run for my money. And
Nice.
just it's not really so much of like them being a better rider or not a better rider. It's just you happen to have a bad gate or pick a bad line, and riders are hard to pass on some tracks when you get out behind them, and you try to stick to their pace. You don't want to run certain riders over, and that they're coming up through the ranks, even the younger guys. You don't want to be too rough on them, but you still want to show them that you're still a rider in there and been around longer and stuff like that. So yeah, it's pick and choose on riders that you can ride hard with and not ride hard with. And
Exactly. No, that's true. That's true. Yeah, pretty much most all of you guys that I've seen so far, kind of really use your brain when you're racing. Like exactly what you just said. Who you can pick to kind of get a little rough with, and who you probably shouldn't get a little rough with. And that's really very important. You just said that, and a lot of the riders now kind of ride that way, and that's really good.
yeah. I mean, all of us, we all have jobs outside of Speedway, and we want to get to them, and families that we got to take care of, and of course we want to be there and win the championships and the main events. And there's a lot of sacrifices that we got to do, and a lot of pushing around to get there. But we got to realize too that there's a lot of other people involved, and a lot of other behind the scenes things that come into play for us to get to the track. And if it wasn't for our jobs and our families allowing us to race, yeah, we wouldn't be there.
Exactly. So. And so you're respecting all the other riders with the same jobs and stuff. So we make sure we are a little bit like, not running people over.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's you're always going to have that no matter what. It's hard when you have a bike without brakes. It's hard to stop that bike. You got a guy that he doesn't park it on purpose, but he goes into the corner a little too hard, or he does park it on purpose, and you try to slow your bike down. You got to try to stop your bike without brakes at the same time, and in mid corner, or something happens, bike malfunctions on a rider in front of you. Things you got to look out for and think about. And, you don't want to think about that stuff because, you want to think about, going forward and winning. And you think about those things, those will hold you back.
Right. Well, it's not exactly. It's not really thinking about that. It's more of like a split-second reaction. If somebody
Yeah.
blows their engine in a turn, middle of the turn, and their bike slows down right in front of you, you have to have that split second. It's not about you're not even thinking. It's just a pure reaction.
That's just like a conscience of knowing that it can happen.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. You don't want to ever think about that, but if it happens, you just have to immediately let the reflexes take over. Not even think about it. You just literally have to just trust your judgment and move out of the way or try to turn real quick or whatever it takes to get away from, let's say, a situation that could be a disaster.
Yeah. Or just go with the flow too. Just hope everything plays out. And
Exactly. Yeah, don't think about that. Just ride hard, ride to win, and if something happens, at that point you'll have to respond. Hey, I wanted to show you something, Russell. Do you remember this right here? Do you know what that is?
looks like that D2 wheel to wheel Raceway 2008 Best Pairs Championship.
Do you have one of those?
Got one right here.
Well, it's the same color. That's kind of funny.
Yeah, I think
Oh.
I think that was one of my first nights on the 500 there at Victorville, and actually my first 500 career race.
We were teammates.
We were teammates paired up for the Best Pairs Championship D2. I did double duty with you, and then rode most of the night by myself in the D1, and then Buck Blair as well did the same thing, and him and I paired up at the end there, and then rode with you, and we got that championship. It was one of the first 500 championships on the books there. So yeah, thank you.
Oh, thank you. When they told me I had Russell Green, I'm like, oh, I'm going to win this championship.
Hey, it don't matter if it's just, it didn't matter having me, man. It's all about that second rider too for a race like that. It's not just about, who's the best rider. It's both of us there. And, I could have had any other rider that night and, could have probably won, or I could have lost too. And you could have had another rider and still won, even with me being out there with another rider.
Well, you got a max score that night. I think you scored 10 points, and then I scored 5 points. So we won by a few points.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite tracks to ride, especially, just moving up from the 250 class and supporting Steve Evans there. I rode all of his races there at Victorville. And, that's just a fun track. That track kind of reminds me a lot of Kern County Raceway that we were just at this past weekend. And I think that's kind of why I kind of grooved there this weekend was, kind of took me back to my roots there at Victorville. And
so it reminds you a little bit of Victorville, then riding the Bakersfield. It kind of give you that flashback.
Yeah, it did. The speed, the banking, and it was fun. But yeah, I'm grateful and thankful that I got to create a little bit of my Speedway history with you, and I think you're just getting ready. That was about the time you just started helping myself. When I started out on the 500s, you were sponsoring Buck Blair at the time as well, and I couldn't thank you more than that. It was kind of like a jump start to my 500 career there.
Oh, it was my pleasure, Russell. I could see, that you just had that talent even at that young age, and I was really happy, to be paired with you, and I knew we were going to win that. Like I had won the year before with Alan Doss, and so I said, and then Steve paired me up with you, and I was like, we're going to win this one.
Right? Yeah, you and Alan Doss, the year before, you guys were a team to beat. And then when Steve said that I could pair up with you, yeah, I said the same thing. I was like, yeah, we got a chance at this. And just run as hard as I could for you. And I was just glad to be able to stay on the bike, you know,
You did.
barely 120 pounds, 16 years old, can barely hang on to a 500 Speedway bike.
Oh, but you did a great job. I think you maxed the score, so that was good news. And I didn't do as well as you did, but I did all right. You know, that was cool. And Victorville was a little harder track for me to master because I like the Costa Mesa, the Blue Groove track a little better than the sticky.
Yeah.
You know, that's just my style, and I like the small tracks a lot. You know.
Yeah. Victorville was a wide open track, and you could ride anywhere you wanted there. Up high, up against the wall, mid track, or down low. And so, yeah, it was definitely a tricky track to figure out. But yeah, every rider, you know,
fast,
they groove at their track.
Victorville is fast. Yeah,
it is.
You open it up full bore at Victorville, like Bakersfield. You open that sucker up and it's gone. You know.
Yeah. Eddie Castro there, he was like a wind-up toy, man. You wind him up, and it was like every lap that he just got going, and his speed kept building up more and more there. And it's crazy to see how different tracks riders ride at, and the way they groove with them, and other riders fit better for different style tracks, different styles of dirt. Like you say, you like the more blue groove, hard dirt, and like I like that nice fluffy little bit of cushion. I think that's because, you know, like I'm light, I can't get any traction on that blue groove, and my bike tries to come around on me and get me on a track that has a little bit of dirt and like that cushion line, and I kind of two-wheel it through the corner and make it work. It almost feels like I don't have to try as hard.
Well, I have a little more weight than you, so when I ride really fast, you know, it's kind of like I hook up a little bit more because I have a little weight. But I'm on a blue groove, I can really control like my weight shifting, and I can control when I put my butt on the seat when I really hit it hard to get some drive coming out of the turn. So it really is predictable for me on the blue groove. But the Victorville, I'm just like, it's like wild because I'm heavy. And then the bike just takes off. It's wild.
Yeah, it almost doesn't want to break loose as easy for you. It kind of like it's on that constant rail, and it just wants to like kind of like halfway between being sideways. It's almost like you're flat tracking. And when you get on that flat track rail, it's hard to hang on to, and you get tired a lot quicker.
You're right. You're totally right. And it's a real chore to ride like that because you want to go fast, right? And you want to try to win, and then you find your body is a little heavy for the track, and then you really have to, like, you can't slide it. You know, you have to maybe dip down on the pole to get a little slide or something. But up high, you're not going to slide very easy.
No, you won't. That blue groove, man. Yeah, when they're at Industry and Costa Mesa, you grooved at those tracks. You made those ones work. You made a few D1 mains, and like a lot of them actually. And like Costa Mesa, like you said, that the dirt, you're able to sit down and get it to go with that blue groove and the hard pack. And, there, I light it up, and it comes around on me. I struggle there. That's one of my worst tracks.
Costa Mesa.
Yep.
So I guess it's good to be have a little weight at Costa Mesa so you can really bounce on that seat and really get a bite, you know, coming out of the turn.
Oh, it's good to have a little bit of weight on a speedway bike, period, I think. Man, I wish I could have more weight, but I everything I do, everything I try, like I said, I got up to 140 pounds after my collapsed lung, and I've been working hard, walking at work, moving around a lot, and I'm back down to 130 within like 2 months of working, and I'm wondering what I'm doing wrong. And I'm drinking the same protein shakes, eating twice as much food, and I lost all my weight again, and I'm back to my normal weight. And I'm sitting here like, man, what happened? So
Well,
we're trying. We're gonna get back up there.
I think when I was like your age or a little younger, I was like a 160 or 165. When I was, we're both about the same height. We're both kind of tall and skinny, about your age group, a little younger. And I was riding about 160, 165. And that, to be honest with you, that was a really good weight for me in D1, about 160, 165. It wasn't too heavy. It wasn't too light. And things worked out pretty good at that weight for me. So that was a good weight. I like that.
That's closer to what my goal is. I want to be closer to like 150, 160. Still, even at 140, you can't really tell that I put on much weight. You can really just see it. I get like kind of chipmunk, chubby cheeks. But I'm still tall, skinny, lengthy. But I think if I got up to like 160, it'd be, like you said, it'd be more beneficial for myself on and off the track. And definitely on the track, I could use that weight to be able to move the bike around, muscle it around, and get that drive where I need it in places I can't get it now.
Exactly.
So I'm always looking for like parts that have like more more weight to them. Steering, like a lot of people try to get those nice light titanium parts. I'm looking for the thick, heavy steel parts that I can toss on to help add some weights, and trying to figure out things I can add to the front end. But I just like, it's not worth it at the same time. I might as well just keep trying to figure out how to make it work with where I'm at now. But yeah, little things like washers and stuff like that, thicker washers, I'm trying.
And back in the old days, when I was riding my old JP in first division, racing like the good guys, I didn't know it because I didn't really care. I didn't know what was going on really. I was only a 1 year rider or 2 years, so I didn't know what was happening really. But I had a chain guard on my bike, and it was made out of heavy aluminum back in the day, and it weighed like 6 pounds or 7 pounds. It was heavy for a chain guard. And
that's real heavy.
And I was thinking, that would add a few pounds on your bike, have a 6 or 7 pound chain guard right there. And it's only a chain guard. So, I mean, it's just a chain guard. And one time I didn't tighten that chain guard in it. I was riding a D1 ride, and my first D1 ride against Bruce Penhall, and I didn't tighten it because I was really horrible about fixing bikes. And the chain guard fell off and almost hit Penhall in the head, or it either hit him in the head. And he was mad. He was mad.
I can only imagine. Yeah, I know. I had I think it was what's that steel with the looks like barbed wire? It's like a metal plating.
Yeah.
I had a chain cover made out of that, and yeah, Charlie jumped my ass about that. I was like, you need to get that off of there, man. If that comes off, it's gonna hurt somebody. And yeah, I took it off that night when I got home and made sure, I put on fiberglass plastic. And yeah, you don't think about that stuff until it comes off your bike.
Yeah.
And it hits somebody. And, like walking around, like a fabrication shop or, a metal shop or anything, you rub your hand across a sheet of metal, it'll slice you right open. But when you're moving at 40, 60 miles an hour and then that thing comes flying at you, that could decapitate you.
Yeah.
But even with leathers on, it'll go right through your leathers.
Yeah, it's serious. Yeah. I told the story a lot, and I told Bruce the story. He forgot about the story, so it was really funny. And
you're really glad too, huh?
I was glad it didn't hit him. I mean, I didn't want to hurt the guy, and I didn't even know. And the race was over as my first D1 ride ever. I was only like a very young, like 16, 17-year-old kid. And
Mm-hmm.
the race was over, and Bruce beat me by like just a whisker, like by, gosh, it must have been by inches even. It was close. And of course, he was in the backyardage, and I was up front. And so I went to shake Bruce's hand because I was like, wow, my first D1 ride, Bruce Penhall beat me by a whisker. Like I felt pretty good about everything. And then he dumped me in the wall. He just like kicked me in the wall like we were, and he said, "Did I do that?" And I said, "Yeah." And my chain, and I didn't know why. I didn't know I lost my chain cover at the time. And then my sister almost got in a fight with Penhall. And Penhall said, "You tell your brother to tighten up that chain guard." It almost killed me on the track.
Oh man, yeah, that makes sense to why he kicked you.
He kicked me, and I looked down, and then, oh my God, the chain guard's missing. It's on the track. But the chain guard almost like decapitated Penhall, so he was pissed. He was mad, and I didn't know that. So, and Penhall apologized. I said, "Oh, don't worry about it, Bruce. I have a good story to tell."
Right? It's always good to have memories and things like that you can just go back and laugh on.
Well, the funnest part about that memory is my sister I didn't know, and my sister didn't know. She was my pit woman, and she was chasing Bruce Penhall. She wanted to beat Bruce Penhall up, and and I'm holding my sister by the waist, and I'm saying, "No, don't do that. It's Bruce Penhall. It's the famous Bruce Penhall. Do not hurt him." And I'm protecting Bruce Penhall from my sister.
Oh, that's great.
Oh, so and then they're fighting. Bruce Penhall's yelling, and my sister, they were not fighting, but they were like fighting verbally.
Back and forth, yeah.
So that was my first race in D1. So that was really like, I didn't expect that one.
Oh, I'm sure he didn't either.
No, and then Penhall, he was on my show, and he was like, "Really? Really? I did that? I'm so sorry." I said, "Bruce, you almost got in a fight with my sister. My God, And he said, "I would never fight with a girl."
He's like, "I just kept walking."
I'm holding my sister. She's like a tiger. She's like, she wants a piece of Bruce Penhall. She's going to beat his ass.
He's just like, don't worry about it. That's probably why he wasn't worried about it. That's why he's like, yeah, whatever. At that point, he stuffed you in the wall, and he was happy.
Yeah, he got what he wanted. He paid me back, but back in the day, it was a little rougher back in D1, man. Those guys were tough. There's a lot of money in Speedway, and it was really like, you fight each other. It was, there was no friendship at all. Like, kind of like today, it was people are more cool. But back in the day, they want to beat you up.
Oh, man. Yeah, that sounds like a good time.
Yeah. I just did a video right before we had our show, like a couple hours before, and I did a show about the 1970s, about what it was like to be a speedway rider, and different riders and stories and stuff. And it was, it was a rougher time, but it was really a good time too.
Yeah, I can only imagine. But we get stories about it all the time. Bobby Schwartz telling us, and, a lot of the old riders, they're like, man, you guys got it easy now compared to how we have it or had it. And you'd have to battle and wait weeks before you can ride another night because there's, so many riders, and the level of riders was so high, and it was just cutthroat then. Everybody wanted to be able to be like Bruce Penhall and go overseas and ride.
Yeah, so. I mean, it took especially lower division riders back in the day, like if you're a D2 or D3 rider, and you had to like win the main event, or you had to place like second in the main event to come back next week on the program. If you weren't like second place in the main, forget it, because there's a whole group of people waiting. And so the cycle was like 3 or 4 weeks. You'd have to wait to get back on the program in like D2 or 3.
Yeah, man, I couldn't imagine, doing that nowadays. It'd be rough doing that, and that only made it to where riders wanted it more, and they, or riders didn't want to show up at that point. But
yeah, I mean, it was rough, and you had. Obviously, you got these top level riders, all these top guys, they don't have to deal with that. But the lower division guys, they did have to deal with that. And it was really, it was tough because, and what happened is with me, they told me I wanted to race, but the season was almost over and it was just a few weeks left. And they said, oh, it's about a 4-week wait to get on the program at Costa Mesa. I said, 4 weeks? Well, gosh, the season's over in 4 weeks.
So sign me up for the opener.
I was thinking, like, what am I going to do? And then when I got out of high school, I was in high school. I was only like a sophomore or something in Orange County. I went to El Medina High School, and I would get out of class early. You know that school, El Medina?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'd get out of school early, and I would go straight to Costa Mesa with my Speedway bike, and I would wait like at 2:00 in the afternoon, and I'd be the first reserve.
Oh.
And I made sure I was there. Like when school got out, I was there.
Straight to the track.
I had the first. I was number 1 in line, so nobody was gonna be ahead of me. Oh.
Yeah, that's rough when you got to battle for that reserve spot. That's
you got to
rough.
fight, and sometimes you don't get the reserve spot, right? I mean, sometimes everybody shows up, and no guarantee.
Yeah, it's like nowadays, it's like, oh, we get a reserve spot. It's like, it's kind of depressing. Nowadays, it's like, oh man, am I even going to get a ride? Like back then, it's like, oh yeah, I got a reserve spot. Like I might get a chance at getting a ride tonight. Oh, that's like completely different than how it goes nowadays, man. We get a reserve spot, and I'm like, oh, well, I'm glad to be here. I'll be lucky to get a ride. I hope somebody gets out, touches the tapes.
Yeah.
You're like praying for a guy like Castro or Charlie to pull one of their flyers and get mad at the ref and just dump the clutch. But Castro, he's learned his lesson since Galvin, I think, since their little tiff that they had. And
did you remember that tiff? Do you remember that tiff between Castro and Galvin?
Yep. And I think Castro learned his lesson from that. He has not jumped the gate since. I don't think. Maybe like once or twice on Danny Hall just to get in his head a little for him. Because Danny always likes to call him out.
Eddie was bad about jumping the gate.
He was notorious for it. Him and Charlie, and then Charlie would be like, screw it. He'd get his warning, and then he would just say, screw it, and just let the clutch go before the light even turned green. It'd be like green light, and he's through the tapes.
So they got so pissed off, they just blow the tapes and say, screw you.
Yeah, well, I know Charlie would do that when he'd get like his warning. He'd just say, screw it, green light, go, I'm gone. Castro, I think that was just him trying to anticipate the start. He's either he can make a gate or he's like me, underdog, coming from the back and always battling for his wins. And he makes it harder for himself, not being able to come out the gate. So he's always kind of been like, if I don't make this gate now or never, I'm going to be battling trying to make these passes, and I'd rather try to blow the tapes or make the gate and beat the starter rather than work my butt off in this race against, you know, a national champion and a multinational champion. So yeah, I don't blame him on going through those tapes as much as he has.
Because he's a light guy like yourself. He's a light
Uh-huh.
guy, and so you know it's a disadvantage at the starting line when
Yeah,
you're so light to be like that.
yeah. It's either we're either spinning at the line or we're getting ready to be put on our lid, looping out, and yeah, it's hard. And when we get those perfect starts, it's a great feeling. And so yeah, I can understand why he did a lot of the jumps that he would do to get out the gate. And, I mean, I would try more, but I want to be able to get those points and make a semi. I can't sacrifice that many points. I'd rather battle it out. But yeah, he liked to take those chances.
He
There's more
did.
chances I'll take.
He was crazy that way. He took a lot, and you know, honestly, sincerely, Eddie Castro was really good about like cheating the tapes. I mean, he was a master at that.
Yeah, he had it down to where, you know, him and Bobby Schwartz, you know, you watch Bobby at Costa Mesa and he'll back up so far from the tapes and he'll creep forward just like back in the day. And he knows that, you know, once you stop moving, the tapes are going to go up because that's what the referee waits for, is for that final movement to completely stop. And then he's going to send the tapes up, hoping that he's going to throw that rider off. And, you know, Bobby, he had it figured out to where he would do that. He'd creep forward, stop, and then he'd know the tapes would go. And that was kind of like his countdown that he would have. You know, and a lot of riders have a countdown in their head that they usually go for, but it's hard nowadays with the referees. They don't have a countdown anymore. They just go whenever they want. There's no like, oh, 1, 2, click, 1, 2, 3, click. It's just green light, go, or green light, I'm gonna hang out. And they're moving. No, they're not moving. Go. So yeah, it's definitely a game at the line when they with the rules that they have nowadays, so where there's no movement at all. Like you see back in, like you watch videos of in the 70s and the 80s, you know, the riders are jumping back and forth at the line and, you know, touching the tapes, and they're all antsy and excited. And yeah, no, not today. You can't move at
No.
that line, so it makes it harder to anticipate the start. And I think, you know, a lot of that has to do with, you know, where Eddie was at, and Bobby Schwartz, you know, their era where they were riding back then, you know, that's how it was. You had to, you that's what they did to get out the gate. And then they, you know, they changed the rules on them as the years go on, and it's kind of hard to break your old habits.
You can't teach an old dog new tricks.
Yeah, I'm not gonna call those guys dogs, man. Those guys are awesome.
They're badass dogs. No, they're good.
Right?
They're good dogs. They're good.
They are.
So,
They are.
so, so do you think that it's a mistake, or do you think like it's not good that you can move on the line, or do you like the rules that you have to be perfectly stopped? I mean, what do you think about that? I mean, do you think it's bad to move, or do you think it's good to stop?
Oh man, I don't know. I already got a lot enough stuff going on in my head. I don't think I really need to be moving back and forth at the line like that before I come out the gate. I think just, you know, reminding myself to breathe 2 times at the line before the gates go up is enough for me to worry about. I don't need to be worrying about, you know, is this guy moving forward with me, or is he, you know, if I'm gonna stop now, is the tape's gonna go? No, I think I'm pretty content with just sitting there in one spot and waiting for those gates to move. But there's a few times where, you know, I get antsy myself, and I'll double double tap that clutch and let it out and bring it back in, and it's either bitten me and I've gotten called and penalized, or I've gotten a couple other riders, like I've gotten Max Rummel with it, and I've gotten Gino Manzarez with it once, to where, you know, I left the clutch out before the tapes go up and pulled it back in, and then went with the start. when the tapes went up, and I got them that way, or they blew through the tapes or touched the tapes because you flinched. There's little things like that you can do, like little flinches that throw riders off, or little movements. But you never know if it's going to work. You don't know if that one rider could be in gate 2 and be looking all the way down at gate 4, and you're looking over here at gate 1, and you're thinking you're going to psych this guy out, and he's looking all the way down at the other side of the tapes, and you're basically psyching yourself out. So yeah, it's there's a lot of head games with yourself rather than just the other riders that come into play.
Exactly.
So I think just not even thinking about it, showing up to the tapes and just riding your ride, I'm coming to realize is the best way to do it. You start thinking about how this rider comes out the gate usually, or what he does to throw riders off. It doesn't work. You just got to do your own thing and go. I think I've kind of overthought about it a little too much, and that's kind of been my downfall. Is I just think about it too much during the week, and coming up to the day of the race, that I kind of talk myself out of what I should be doing rather than just doing my job.
That makes sense. I guess what you're doing is overthinking everything, and that was actually pulling you down, overthinking everything. Just go out there and cut it loose and ride your race, and you're the master of your own bike, and forget about everybody else.
Yep, exactly. Like, I know how to ride the bike. I know what the bike's doing. And basically all it comes down to is just myself as the rider at that point. And, if I overthink it and I'm thinking too much about what my bike's doing, and I'm not, focused on what I should do, it has a lot to do with it. And I think that's another thing too, with like, comes to like your question earlier on what I changed, or what changed with my move up here. That's one of the things that had changed is, with slowing down my thought process and stop overthinking. I just, let's throw in music. And before I would throw in music and try to escape and get away, but at the same time, I wasn't listening to the music in my head. I was just thinking about coming out of the start. What would happen if I wasn't the first one out of the start, what I would have to do to get around the rider. And now it's just like, now if I do think about a race, it's just, I'm just going to start and go and hold the bike wide open and hope that it works out at that point. And it's basically all you can do. Just, everything that I've learned over the years, from riding as a junior till now. I'm 29 years old. Like I said, I started when I was 14. Now it's just time for me to make it all work and stop thinking and just do my job. I know what I need to do, and stop. Just tell myself I know what I need to do rather than just thinking about what I need to do, and just go.
You couldn't be any more right on than that. It's just, just go ahead and not worry about everything and not think and just go. Because a lot of people have been texting me, even like today and yesterday, going, dang, Russell's really getting good. Like they can see the bump up, in the progress. And that's probably because you're not thinking. You're just going out there. You're relaxed and you're riding your race. You're not worried about anybody. And you're just focused on what you're going to do. Forget about everybody else. And then you're relaxed and you know what to do and you do it. And you're looking better doing that.
Yeah. That's what we're trying to do. And a lot too has to do with my fiance and, like the environment in my pits and the people around me. And, like my mom backing me up and, just having my head in line, and it's just the biggest thing. And we were talking about it the other day that when I came up here, it was like all I would do is just, man, I can't even think about it now. Man, I lost it.
That's okay. Well, so you have a fiance. Are you planning on getting married or something? Or are you just dating, or how's that working out?
Yeah, we're actually in the we're in the middle of planning our wedding right now. We're getting married in December of this year, December 3rd, 2021. I asked her to marry me last year on her just the day before her birthday. We've been dating for about 5 years now, and yeah, she's one of the best things that happened to me. She's my mechanic, manager, fiance. Yeah, she does it all for me. And
Wow, you're lucky. You have some good support there with her.
yeah,
And
yeah, I'm
wow.
grateful. Most guys are like, yeah, my chicks, she's or my wife and or my girlfriend's mad because I'm buying parts for my bike and I bought a new part for my race car and she's like, we need to get this part and I'm like, no, that part's fine. Like, there's parts on my bike that were like 10 years old and I'm like, stop trying to change them. And she bought new like nuts and bolts and I put them on my bike and I stripped them right away, brand new hardware, stripped them, and then I'm like, see, this is why I don't like we'd go back and forth. I'm like, this is why I don't buy new parts, and I'd throw my 10-year-old parts back on, and then now I'm like, I think you're right. I should have kept all those new parts and just switch over to all the new parts. And so yeah, she's a big help. She's pushing me to be a better person and take care of my things. And I've always wanted to have good equipment, but just the sacrifices it takes and the money it takes to spend it, um, and what it takes to save the money to be able to race. She's helping me out a lot with the financial part of it and being more smart with my money. So yeah, she's a big role in my career right now and my life. So
Wow. Well, a lot of guys wish they could have a girl like that, supporting them and not yelling at them for buying new parts and stuff.
oh man, she yells at she's more into the racing than I am. I think she's like if I have a bad race, yeah, she's more frustrated about it than I am. And like before, like riders get mad, they lose a race, get beat, and they want to throw a helmet, throw goggles or something, or I like being trying to be a professional rider. You don't want to really do all that stuff, so you kind of like try to hide all your emotions and try to keep calm and yeah, no, it's like it's different seeing somebody else be more emotional than myself about my racing, and it kind of throws me off. And it's like we kind of butt heads about it on that aspect too. And I'm like, it's all right, calm down. It's just a race. And usually it's like people are telling me to calm down. It's just a race. Move on to the next one. And so it's like, yeah, it's different for now. It's like I'm calm and I got to calm her down, and so it's cool. I like it. It helps me kind of like keep my mind off of worrying so much about oh man I did this in this race, and if I did have a bad race too, even though she's upset about it, she's still like, all right, we'll figure it out. We need to figure out the next situation or the next setup change, and she's on it, man. She changes my rear wheel for me. She washes my carburetor. She washes my clutch plates. It's a full on team thing with me and her. With the racing, she's got me 110% with it. She's got a mechanic in England. His name's Chris Strong that helped me out when I was over there for the Dream Team. She was constantly on the phone with him every other day, getting knowledge and tips on trying to, bike setup and changes to help me get into those main events. And, it's a lot for me, to as a rider to to put my trust into somebody, you know, as a coming from a fan side of it, of Speedway, and just jumping into it because she went to would watch Fast Fridays when she was like 8 years old. Was when she first started going to Fast Fridays, and so she grew up watching Speedway, and she knew the basics of it. And so then I started teaching her, you know, the behind the scenes, working on the bike and all that good stuff, and she picked up on it really fast, and uh, she wanted to change my sprockets, change the wheels, and do all that stuff on her own. And so yeah, like in between bike preps, I would have her work on the bike and help me out while I was washing it, and kind of like teach her a few things. And now she's telling me what I need to change on the bike. And it amazes me on how far she's come in just, you know, 4 years. And yeah, I know it frustrates the crap out of those other riders, mechanics, man. When, you know, you got a chick, you know, your fiance is backing you up, turning wrenches for you. Somebody that you think doesn't know nothing about the sport and doesn't know nothing about, you know, racing. And man, she knows her stuff. I got to give it to her. She's the next best mechanic I had since my mom. And both of them know
I
everything.
didn't know that. That's great. That's so.
Yeah.
So when you get done with a race and you don't do so well, she says, "Russell, you got to drop 2 teeth," and then she goes ahead and drops 2 teeth. Is that what she does?
Yeah, I mean, it's like, even like, it's like I'll come in and I'll be like, man, I don't know what to do. Like, I don't know if I should change, like, if I should drop 1 tooth, 2 teeth, or if I should just change timing. And there's times where she's like, yeah, just, you know, just change timing, or we should just change air pressure, or change a sprocket. And I'm like, all right, if that's what you think we should do, we'll try it this time. And there's times where, you know, it's worked, and there's times where it hasn't. And same thing for me. Like, I can only, you know, guess the track so much on what it's going to turn out for the next race. And then, you know, track prep comes along and it's completely different now. And I'd be off on what I thought it was going to be. And, you know, her setup probably would have been spot on. So then it's like, all right, well, let's try your setup on what you wanted. And then it works out. Or there's times where, like, her setup won't work out and mine will. So it's like, we both go back and forth and helping each other out. She helps me out with that and trying to figure out what works the best. And so, like, now with her talking to my mechanic over in England, and her getting the knowledge and trying to get me out of the gate and out of in the main, it makes it easier for me not have to think about what I need to do and what I should change, and I can rely more on her and trust her more on her decisions. And
She's
I
doing
think
a
that's
good
what makes it
job.
great.
Yeah,
So
she's part of your success, Russell.
yep. She's gonna be there for a lot of it too. So it's not gonna stop. And she says when we have kids, she's gonna keep trying to go. And even while she's pregnant, she said she'll mechanic for a little bit until she can't. So we'll see how that goes for her.
Are you guys planning on having kids soon? You like that?
Yeah, probably in the next few years. Probably after we get married. Just gonna kind of enjoy our time together, racing and all that good stuff before we start to settle down. And I mean, we got our own apartment together. We've had our own apartment since we got together, and things have worked out pretty great. We've had no issues, no problems with each other. So I couldn't be more thankful for her as a person and everything she's done. And yeah, we get along great. So I don't think it could get for relationship wise. I don't think it could be any better. And then,
So you've been dating for 5 years. You said 5 years now.
yes, this will be our 5th year. We started dating on my birthday in 2000. Was it 16? Yeah, 2016. And And then I asked her to marry me the day before her birthday last year. And so yeah, we're gonna get married this year and start the journey.
Bring her on the camera. Let's say hi to her. What's your fiance's name? Bring her on. Just say hi.
She's doing the dishes right now from dinner.
Tell her I'll come over and do the dishes, and she go on the camera. Tell her that.
Brian said he'll do the dishes, babe. You got out of it this time.
Okay. Next slide.
Right over.
Next slide. She said she'll try to do it when she finishes off.
And she does the dishes too. Wow.
Oh yeah, she's great. I mean, ever since my collapse lung too, she gets up early and makes me those protein shakes to help me put on my weight and all that good stuff. So yeah, she's all about my health and everything. She worries about me more than I do.
You got to keep her there. You got to. So you crashed and you collapsed your lung. Is that what happened when you collapsed your lung? You had a crash.
I wasn't from a crash. It was doctor said it was a spontaneous collapsed lung. I had like an air pocket on the outside of my lung, and it had popped. And when it popped, it punctured a hole in my lung at the same time. And then my lung collapsed and folded over on itself. And then basically chest cavity filled full of air because of the hole in the lung. And just got down to 30% breathing from it. The air was pushing all of my other organs, my heart, my other lung. And so it was basically suffocating me from the inside. It wasn't. I was able to get air in, but I couldn't get air out. And so, like, what air I was taking in, it was coming in, getting into my chest cavity, and then squishing my other lung. So then that was making it to where that lung wasn't working. And it was just a random thing. Before that happened, I was a heavy cigarette smoker, and I just happened to walk my dog and went downstairs to smoke a cigarette, and that's when it had happened. And thankfully for that, Jessica, she'd been trying to get me to quit smoking cigarettes for a good 3 years, or pretty much since we got together. The 4 or 5 years, and I wouldn't quit. And I mean, I would try here and there, and I tried vaping to quit smoking, and the doctors were trying to point the collapsed lung and the air pocket on my lung that popped. They're saying that that's what it was from the vaping. And then also because of my tall, skinny build, they said my chest cavity, the way it was shaped and all that stuff, they said that it created little bubbles. But then I kind of feel like the questions that they asked me, they're trying to point it towards like vaping, and they're saying that a lot of adult males my age and build within the last like 3-4 years have been the cases have been popping up like this, and they've been having the same problems. It was just something that just randomly happened out of nowhere, and just a dramatic life experience, basically. And great wake up call for myself. Quit smoking cigarettes. Haven't smoked a cigarette since then. My breathing, they said, should be back to like 40% from what it was. So yeah, definitely a big eye opener, and that also too kind of helped me slow down my thinking and think about life and what I want to do with myself and with life and with racing and all that good stuff. So
how did they fix that? Did they just like give you medicine, or did they did surgery, but did they was it just natural? It sounds like you'd have medicine to help that, right?
when I went into the hospital, the doctor gave me a shot of morphine and then stuck a tiny little chest tube, just a little bit smaller than a pencil, and right here, like just right here underneath my armpit into my chest cavity, and it released the air out of my chest cavity, and then they put me on oxygen to help reinflate the lung. And then they're hoping that as the lung reinflated, it was going to push the air out of the chest tube that they inserted into my side. And then about 3 days after that, I went into surgery, and they went in and scraped off some dead tissue off of my lung, and pulled my lung back up from being folded over onto itself, and then pretty much cleaned it all up in there and sewed me back together. And then I had another chest tube about the thickness of my thumb in there, in my side, and had that in there for about a good 4 or 5 days, and then finally got cleared to go home. And yeah, it was fun. But,
Wow.
uh,
So
it was,
so they took the tube out, and then your breathing went back to normal. Is that what happened?
well, the breathing was pretty much getting back to normal with the chest tube in my side. The chest tube that they had left in there after surgery was to get like all the fluid and stuff out, and like the excess air that was inside my lung, and kind of help keep it inflated so that if something were to happen, my lung didn't collapse again right on the spot. And I just basically kept that in there until we got all the fluid out, and the doctor felt that it was safe for my lung to stay inflated on its own and get me off the oxygen. And then they pulled that chest tube out. And there's times now where it still feels like they just pulled it out, and it tingles, sharp pain, and I get like it's like a hypersensitive feeling, like down, like right at the bottom of my rib cage and like right where my stomach is. They said that I have some nerve damage and some scar tissue damage that I'll feel for the next year. And so, yeah, I definitely feel that. And there's times where I'll move just right, and I can feel like it's stretched, or like they just pulled the chest tube out of my side again.
Nice.
So, yeah,
So
it is.
that's not fun, and but it's not life threatening, right? I mean, it's kind of healing right now, correct?
Yeah, it's still in the healing stages. The doctor told me when I got out of the hospital, I could go back to my daily normal routine, everything I was doing, like my work program and stuff like that. And he said, just take it easy until, for the most part, for the first couple of weeks, and then after that, like I could go back to work as long as like my body felt like I could, and I could get through the pain, and it wasn't hurting me too bad. I was able to get back to work, and so I think I was out of work until October 13th, and then I went back to work, and been working every day since. And
Nice.
yeah, it's been great. It
Oh,
was a little rough at first getting back to work, uh, picking things up and stuff like that. It definitely hurt me.
takes time.
Yeah.
So are you? If Steve Evans does like a dream team, are you gonna apply, or do you want to do a dream team? You did one before. Do you want to do it again, or are you cool with just staying where you're at right now?
I did. Yeah, I did a couple of the dream teams that Steve Evans did. I believe I did one in 2011, and I did a following one 2012. It was like I think I did a fall season, and then a fall tour and a spring tour that he did. It was almost like a back-to-back tour. Uh, but yeah, if he did one, I wouldn't mind going back over for the dream team and kind of seeing where I compete with those guys now. I think I stand a better chance now than what I did before when I went over. I don't think I was ready when I went over before. I think I could be a little bit more prepared now. But yeah, if he offered a chance to go back over again, I think I'd definitely be on board with it. As long as my fiance was okay with going over, I know she would want to go with me. So of course, she'd want to go and be my mechanic there too. And I definitely want her to go with me, so she can get that knowledge and be able to come back and beat the boys when we come back, because that's her big goal. Is beating Billy Jaranero, beating Max Rommel, beating Brock Nickel, and she wants a national championship just as bad as I do. I think so. Yeah, going over there and taking her with me, I think is just another step to our success and our success story of husband and wife, like a future husband and wife team, on and off the track, in the pits. I think we can be successful together, and we got a guy over in England that we talked to, like I said, a mechanic over there that he's willing to take us in if we get a chance to go over. We finished 2019. I finished fourth in the AMA Nationals, and it qualified. You finish in the top four, you get a qualify for a working visa, and you can go over and race onto a team if they'll sign you on one. But we didn't have any luck in 2019, and also with the COVID-19, or not 2019, 2020 season, and also with the COVID-19 hitting with the pandemic and everything, it kind of put the brakes on, I think, on everybody's plans for going overseas. So I just kind of was just like, I'll take a step back, and if I get the chance to go over, we'll go. But until then, we're just gonna kind of wait it out and see if we can start our base here in the States and keep things going, so that if we do go over there, when and if we do, we have something to come back to, rather than just going over there and winging it and hoping we can make it, and then coming back to nothing. It'd be a little stressful for us, especially for her. She's got to have everything perfect and just right, so that she's her OCD is a little bit more intense than mine is. So I got to make sure all of our stuff's in a row before we even think about going over and doing something like that. And got a few other loose ends to tie up here, I think. And then if we get the shot, we'll jump on board. If we have no choice to do it, I think we'll do it. But if we got a choice to kind of sit back and wait, we'll wait for that right time.
Oh, that's excellent. I'm so happy, because that's one of the things I wanted to ask you, because your progress is really, it's going up and up and up, and you're just a notch down from taking down some of these big boys, and that's really close. And so that's really good that your desire to that you're open to possibly, giving another crack over there with your mechanic over there in England. And, if things work out, with the, travel situation and the British League opening up and stuff like that, all these things have to work out. But that's really great that you're open, for all this kind of, and your fiance is open to, work all the loose strings and be a part of it with you. That's really fabulous, Russell.
Yeah, I'm very grateful for that, and I'm glad she thinks about those things, and she thinks about not just our future, but like the future of the racing and stuff like that. Like that's the biggest thing for me in a relationship is having somebody that wants me to be successful in my racing, and of course I want my spouse to be successful with what they do, and if she were to have a dream or a sport or something she wanted to do, I'd back her up 100% with it, even on top of my racing. I would still be there for her, and if I had to, I'd make the sacrifices from the races to go and support her. But yeah, I'm very, very thankful that this is her passion too. So
That's great. Hey, you won the 25 lap main at the Fast Fridays a few years ago. I know we're running a little long on our show. Did you want to see? I made a blog on that with you in it. Did you want to see that video?
yeah, I don't mind. That'd be pretty cool.
I made this, and you're a winner, so of course you're going to be in this. And we're going to show this 25 lap. Actually, it's a blog of a few of the winners, and you're one of them. And Billy J was one, and Gage was another one, and there was Ryan Bast was.
Yes.
So I think that's really cool that Dave Joyner does that 25 lap main event. And we're going to go ahead and play that right now. Welcome back. And today we're going to talk about the 25 lap Ironman endurance race. It's held every year at the Fast Fridays. They used to hold that one a long time ago, so we're going to talk about that. And if you like the content, please subscribe down at the bottom of the page. So let's go ahead and talk about that right now. But first, before we talk about it, we need to go back in the history. We need to go back. The 25 lap endurance race was actually invented back in the 80s and 90s at the Costa Mesa Speedway, probably by Brad Oxley, but I don't know. You can't find this information anywhere, so I'm working really hard at this blog. And they had it. It was fantastic. I loved it. Everyone loved it. And they raced that for about 20 years or so, and then they stopped doing it. And Dave Joyner at Fast Fridays, he picked it up. Good job, Dave. Good job. The 25 lap Ironman endurance race is an amazing race, and I'm so happy that Dave went ahead and continued that. Every year he does the 25 lap Ironman endurance race. They've held that event for many years at the Fast Fridays, and we're going to go back to 2013 where Billy Gennaro won that race. He raced the 25 laps, and who else would win but Billy Gennaro? He said it was a difficult race, and he just went ahead and just rode normally. He just kept on the gas and rode. Got a bug on me. Billy started from the 120-yard line. The 120-yard line. That's pretty cool. And he went ahead and finished that race. And the scorekeeper, he said he didn't even know like how many laps there was because there was so much smoke and chaos. Everyone was passing everyone. That sounds kind of fun. After the race, Billy just said that he just went ahead and was dripping with sweat and said, that wasn't a very hard race. Of course it wasn't a very hard race because you're Billy Gennaro. On July 25th, 2014, Ryan Bass won the next Ironman competition. He led at lap 2 and just kept riding and riding. He just said that he's going to stick to the pole and that nobody passed him. And Ryan Bass went ahead and won 2014 Ironman competition. Great job, Ryan. In 2015, it was the year of Brock Nichols. You know that guy, Brock Nichols. He's the 2020 national champion in Speedway. And Brock was like 16 years old. That's not fair. And Brock just said in a humble way, Brock's a very humble guy, he just maintained his speed and just kept going and going, and then he just won that race. And riders were like falling like flies, running out of gas, and they were crashing, and it was just chaos. But Brock just kept on course and won the 2015 Ironman competition. The following 2 years, it was Gage Geist year. He won back-to-back Ironman competitions. Gage is sponsored by Connor Penhall Concrete Sawing Company. He just went ahead and did a fabulous job. He won back-to-back Ironman. He was Ironman. Gage was in the gym working out. He just worked out really hard. A young guy. He was 17 and 18 when he won those events. Gage is an amazing athlete. Gage had 2 fuel tanks. 2 fuel tanks! That's not fair. And it helped Gage a lot. He just said, I was gunning it all the way. Like, who cares about the fuel? We're going to win that 25-lap Ironman competition. It was on June 29, 2018. It was the year of Russell the Rocket Green. Russell was starting from the 80-yard line, and he just continued on. Russell had a string of second and third place finishes, but this time Russell pulled it all together and won the Ironman competition. Russell's just an amazing rider. He had heat from like Bass, Hedden, Gennaro. Gennaro was closing in on Russell Green, and Gennaro crashed. Gennaro crashed with 2 laps remaining. He was catching up to Russell, but he crashed. And Russell went ahead with top honors and won the 25-lap Ironman competition. In the year 2019 was the last year they held that event. And Louis Marceroli won that race from the 80-yard line. Louis just continued on. Louis is a great rider, and he just went ahead and won that. So you did a good job, Russell.
Yeah, that was a long 25 laps. I see why they call it the Ironman Challenge.
That was our first big trophy.
That's the biggest trophy I got on my mantle. Actually, it's not even on my mantle. It's down at the corner by my door because it don't fit all the mantle.
You deserve it after riding 25 laps and
yeah,
having Gennaro.
The first 20 laps were the easiest. It was that last 5 that when I saw the flagger hold his hand up for 5 laps, and I was like, all right, 5 laps to go. I got this in the bag. And then I looked back and I saw Billy J coming, and I knew once he had me in his targets, it was game on for him, and he was gonna chase me down. And so yeah, I started counting down from 5, and I got to 3, and told myself I screwed up, and got lucky. Like you said, Billy J went down there on the last lap, and that was thankfully to
Never comes last.
My oil cap loosened up there after all 25 laps. My oil cap loosened up and started spraying oil on the track and got that blue groove, and it was like, Mario Kart for Billy J from there. And I'm surprised it didn't get anybody else after that. I'm glad he was able to keep from getting hit from the other guys coming. That's a lot of guys on the track flying at you, and especially after 25 laps of holding on a blue groove, man, I can only imagine somebody going straight and hitting them from there. But yeah, I was thankful that cap came off and helped me win the main event, win the 25 lapper. But I still think I could have held him off from there. He was moving though to get me. But yeah, think I still had a good chance.
Oh wow! So
Like,
I never rode one of those things. I guess after a while, are there people like passing each other? And I read there was like dust in the air, and the
oh,
scorekeepers couldn't even see who was winning and stuff.
oh yeah, that year, 2018 and 2009. Actually, the last 3 years that they ran it, it was pretty dusty. You'd go into the corner and it was hard to see the next rider and the riders around you, and you're basically listening for the guys, and you got the guys from the yardage line up ahead, and guys that are getting tired and getting arm pumped, and guys two wheeling, and then the guys up front that are still racing to catch the leader. And yeah, like Brock said, it was chaos. And guys like us that aren't used to it. Billy, he's used to it. He's got a lot of experience in a race like that. Bart Bass, Tommy Hedden, those guys know what to do and know how to pace themselves to last that long. Us younger guys, we tell ourselves, yeah, we'll pace ourselves, but we still start off wide open and just keep going. And Brock, not Brock, Gage, he had those extra fuel tanks to help him keep going. And I've risked it both the 3 years that I've done it, and just ran one fuel tank. And the year that I won it, the only fuel that I had left in the bike was what was in the carburetor float bowl, and that was it. Any more laps than that, I would have been done. It would have been in the bag for Billy Gennaro. He would have had it.
So one more. If it was a 26 lapper, you would have lost.
Yeah. I mean, it was just enough for me to do my victory lap, and it was a cool victory lap. My fiance hopped on the back with me, and it was we're always joking around about getting her on a bike, because she mechanics for me, and she said that was enough for her. That's all she wanted. That's the only ride she wants on a speedway bike. So I was like, hey, it's a perfect win for her. So we're stoked. She's stoked, and that's a big race right there to win. Not everybody can win something like that, and to put that on my checklist, it's a feat. I told myself, going into that race, I was on a motor that had 3 seasons on it. I rode the AMA rounds. I rode Costa Mesa Industry, Fast Fridays. I did 3 full seasons. I did the long tracks at like Ventura, Santa Maria on it without a rebuild, and then went out and told myself either I'm going to win the 25 lap main event, or I was just going to, do 10 laps and pull off. And it came around to like the halfway point, and I saw myself. I counted the riders in front of me, and I was only in 3rd place. And so I just kept charging from there, and told myself I got a chance. And I ended up winning. And shout out to Jawa on that one. They make great motors. That last years without a rebuild, and everybody thought I blew that motor up because I lost the oil plug, or the oil fill plug, where you fill the oil, and it started spraying oil all over the bike, and it started smoking. So everybody thought I blew the motor up. And I told them, you're all crazy. That's a Jawa. It'll never blow up. And mostly because I've had that motor from the beginning of my career, and have yet to blow that motor up. And I got 100% faith in that motor of lasting without blowing up. And I told myself the next season, 2019, I said I was going to bring it out and give it another 25 lap main event. And I did, and that was the only race it's raced since then, and that was, I think, the last race. And It's sitting in the storage unit right now, just leaking oil out of every orifice it can. After that race, it was done. It lasted the whole 25 laps, but after that, oil was leaking from every every crack and nook and cranny in that motor, the head, the in between the cranks. But it still runs, but it's just leaking oil everywhere.
So
Uh,
you never changed the piston or rings in all those years?
no, I think I got 3 years and few long tracks, a couple of Ventura races. I think like a practice at Santa Maria, and those are like half quarter mile tracks, just under a little over quarter mile, and then two 25 lap main events on it. That second year with that motor on the 25 lap main event, it was pulling so hard, and I couldn't hold on the full 25 laps the second year, and I ended up finishing sixth after winning the thing. So yeah, that motor is it's a tank, and it goes. It's like a tractor, little workhorse. But yeah, we're gonna get that motor rebuilt here real soon, and bring it back out of the woodworks and see if it can compete with those GMs again.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
you definitely can do a commercial for Jawa for dependability.
oh yeah, that and Redline Oil, man. I can't can't say anything more about those two companies. GM, you know, they've got great motors, powerful, strong motors, you know, that get you to the main events and stuff like that. But if you want a strong, reliable motor that's going to, you know, teach you the fundamentals of speedway, and you know, you can rely on a good motor, Jawa is the way to go, I think. And you know, just that Redline has been good for that motor as well. Anytime it's had any issues, I catch it or I hear something go wrong, and I believe it has something to do with that oil. Anytime I've put something else in all my other motors that I had previous to that motor, I've ran Blenzol, Amsoil, stuff like that, and I've blown the motors up every single time. I
Nice.
put that red line in, and it seems to enjoy it. So I enjoy it just as much as the motor does if I'm not spending that much more money.
So they sponsor you? Redline sponsors you too?
Not anymore. I'm working on trying to get sponsored by them though. But either way, if they don't sponsor me or not, I'm always going to run them no matter what. Just because I believe in their product. They're it's gone a long way ever since Kelly Kerrigan was the owner for them, and he sponsored me through with their product. And that was when you know, Billy Gennaro, Charlie Venegas was sponsored by them as well. And you know, I couldn't thank Charlie enough for getting me that sponsorship and showing me the ropes and the knowledge about how well Redline Oil is for the motors. Yeah, that oil's kept me going and kept me on the track. Honestly, and if I kept blowing motors up, I don't think I would be able to afford it.
No,
So,
that's expensive. So do you have any sponsors now, Russell? Do you have anybody like helping you, or do you just support all your racing yourself?
um, I have a few, a lot of, well, I have a lot of people behind the scenes that help me out. My mom, my fiance's parents help us out a lot. Her sister helps us out when she can. My fiance and myself, we're also, you know, the biggest part of it ourselves. We got Team SOS on board with us, Gnarly Custom Candy, Raven's Revenge, um, Mohicans, Ministry Mayhem. Um, what else we got over there? We got NorCal Chuck. We got the Speedway store. Specialized Coatings helps us out, helps keep our bikes looking pretty and beautiful on the track. Woods Motorsports, Scott's Goggles helps us be able to see and keep our eyes protected. Beeline Logistics, Speed Machine, our Good Speed Machine, and a few other little people that help us out, keep us going. But yeah, we could always use more help on the track, on and off the track. Any little bit helps. With the racing. But yeah, everybody that's involved with my racing, I cannot thank them enough for everything they've done. They get me to the track, help take care of a few things off the track so that we can get there, and help keep the vehicles running, and mental health, physical health, everything like that. It's not just everything that you see at the track. There's a lot of people that help out off the track that get us there, and keep us safe and protected. So
Nice. That's really great. Well, you're doing really great, and we really appreciate you joining us tonight in the Hive. My
Yes.
best pairs support champion here. Here's our championship. Go ahead, show the trophy, Russell. Yeah, brother.
D2 Best Pairs Champion right there, 2018, with Brian the Bumblebee Buffington. We took home the championship. Couldn't thank you enough for having you, man, on your team that night. It was a great way to start off the Speedway career on a 500.
I was happy we won.
Anybody's happy with the win, you know that. You're always happy with the win.
Yeah. Well, I had a good rider in Russell Green. He was a rocket, so that helped a lot.
Yeah, right. Yeah, thanks to you, man. You did a lot too. You did a lot of blocking and muscling around. A little guy like myself, it's hard to push guys around and keep them out of the way. So guys like myself need guys like you to be able to block and be the muscle for us to get those points.
Yeah, I had the block. I let you go. I wasn't trying. I was just seeing the guys around me, and I was like pushing them to the right, pushing them to the left.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, Russell was gone. He was gone, and then I was fighting these guys, making sure they were going slower so that they couldn't catch you. And I wanted to keep that second place too, as much as I could.
Yeah, I think that was before I even knew what being a team player was all about on a speedway bike. Coming from a junior class, it's all about yourself, and so getting to ride with another rider, it was a little different for myself, and different experience. So it was also an eye opener that it's not just an individual sport. It could also be about you and another rider too. And, you could both be successful and take each other a long way. And, having somebody, that taught me, have somebody always there next to you to keep pushing you. And if you don't have somebody there to push you and keep doing better, then you're not going to progress. You're just going to, you're always going to stay afloat. Exactly. And you're going to sit there and keep chasing and not get to where you want to be. So, yeah, it's always nice to have somebody there to push. And that kind of helped me think, yep, I'll get somebody like that there next to me and push them. And, seeing what you did, helping Buck Blair out. And it was like, and then you started helping myself and Dylan Black. You helped him out for a minute there too.
Yeah.
And it was cool to see somebody like yourself, step in and try to help other riders like that, even with the program that you had going on for yourself. It kind of, told me, like, even though I got a lot on my plate, I could still help out another rider too.
Exactly. So, no, that's good. Yeah, I sponsored Fast Eddie for a season or so. So he was one of my riders.
Man. Oh, that's right. He wasn't he?
Yeah.
I forgot all about that. Wow.
Yeah. He was in the Hive. and then I had Alan Doss. I had
Yeah.
a whole team. I had Buck. I had Alan. I had Dylan, and then Eddie came on later.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, well,
We
thank you
had
for having me, man. It's
ah,
great. It was a great experience too to be on your team and be able to ride for somebody like you, and I'm very thankful to be on your show as well.
thank you. Oh, it's an honor for me to have you because you're rising. Even though you're 29, you just keep getting better and better and better. So that's really cool. I love that, and you're a rising star in the sport still. And I get lots of emails just this last day or so saying, "Could you believe Russell is just he's picking it up another notch?" And so soon he's going to be at the very top here. So we're excited to watch your progress, Russell. We're really behind you here.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, that's the goal, is to be on top, and be able to give national champions a run for their money, and I only want to be as good as those guys, and the previous national champions, and uh, uh, what was that, love?
Never count us
Oh
out.
yeah, fiance says to never count us out. We're always
Don't
coming.
count green out. I one of the things I was going to ask you, Russell, you have the highest number for a D1 rider. Are you going to keep that your whole career, or are you going to go to like a 1 or 2 digit number?
Only if you get one.
Oh man, I've always told
One.
myself the only number I want on my back, if it's not 321, is number one. But that's good. That's a long shot right now. But it's at the same time, it's never a long shot. I can always be right there. It's
Yeah.
always a realistic goal for myself on that one. Just gonna keep plugging away until we get there. But I've thought about changing to number 18, which was my junior number when I first started out on a speedway bike. But when I was down in Southern California, it was that was Justin Boyle's number, and then before Justin Boyle, it was Steve Lacero's number, and so I never got to watch Steve Lacero ride, but coming up as a junior rider, and growing up having Steve Lacero say, "Oh, that was my old number" and stuff, it was kind of like, "Oh, that's cool. I think I wanted to stick with that number." It kind of made me feel kind of proud to run, a top level rider's number, and he was okay and didn't, give me crap about having his number on my back. And then when I found out, Justin Boyle didn't want to give up the number 18, I kind of I tried to challenge him for it, and he didn't really want to race me for it. And so I was like, it is what it is. And he only comes out once or twice a year so that he can keep his number, which is understandable. You don't want you want to be able to come back one day. As a rider, if you do want to come back, you want to be able to have your number. So I
Yeah.
don't blame him for that.
No.
But
Probably sick.
I'll probably just end up sticking with 321 unless I put an 18 in on my back, but I highly doubt it. I'll stick with that 321. And a lot of
My
people
first
say
number.
that. A lot of people say I'm the only D1 rider with a 3-digit number. I'm like, with a high number. But a lot of people forget when Ricky Wells comes back from England, he's still number 142.
Yeah.
He's still a
Yeah.
3-digit number. He's up there too. So I don't think he'll ever change that number either unless he gets a number one on his back. So I think we kind of got the same thought process on that one.
Hey, there's a lot of good D1 riders with three. Dub Farrow was number 121.
Oh, yeah, see?
He raced his whole career. How many years is that? 121, and then Bobby Schwartz was 126 for quite a while before he went to 11.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of D1 riders that have had 3-digit numbers for a while. So it's cool. It's actually kind of unique. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, so I think it's one of those things that it's like a trademark for me. Once I get into a routine or I get used to something, I'm kind of like an old school mentality with that. Once I get used to something, I don't like that change. And so I think it'll stick with me. It's become a part of me, and it's always going to be. I think I'll always be number 321. And that question's always going to come up if I'm ever going to change that number, I think, too. So everybody can keep questioning me and keep wondering when that number change is going to be, but it's never going to happen, you guys. I'm sorry.
I had to ask you that question because it was too. So if a D3 rider comes up to you and says, Russell, I'm a new D3 rider and I want 321, would you leave that number? What are you going to say?
Well, I'll tell them they can have it, but put an R on it for rookie. Or like some yellow caution tape on their push bar like a sprint car.
Yeah. Oh, very good.
But yeah, no, I'm pretty fond of that number. I know a lot of people, like Charlie Venegas, his number has to do with like the day he was born, and riders have numbers. They have little superstitions like that, and I tried to go with like that method and try to count like the day I was born, and it's almost right there. It's pretty close to the 320. It's like 320 something, I think, but. Yeah, I was like, well, it's close enough. I'll still stick with my 321. And plus, right now it's my wedding date. For the wedding date, it's December 3rd, 2021. So it'll be like 3, 2, 1, or no, was it 12? Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, and then backwards it would be like the same thing, so it's kind of like a palindrome.
So that's cool.
So it's a weird little thing with that number. So it's kind of like a superstition right there in itself, that number kind of had something that popped up in it, and that has something to do that kind of goes along with with other things that happen in my life. So yeah, I think that would be
we want to wish you all the best in your wedding plans here this December in 2021 and your riding and everything. And we know that you're going to have a really successful continuation. And we just want to thank you so much for hanging out with us today in the Hive, Russell.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It was great talking with you.
It was really great talking with you. And we're looking forward to watching your progress, young man. And we're going to see you on top of that podium, I hope, real soon.
Oh yeah, we'll be up there. We'll keep turning heads, and we'll keep surprising everybody and seeing what we can do to get that national championship. One day we'll get there, and until then, it'll be a fight to get there.
Well, you'll do it, and just keep working hard and be that underdog, and then surprise everybody.
Oh yeah. That's the goal.
Thank you. This is Russell Green, the Rocket. They had Rick Woods, the Rocket, Ronnie Corey, the Rocket, and Russell Green, the Rocket.
Oh, yeah.
Some good writers there, all three of those guys. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, Russell Green. Thank you very much, Russell.
Yes, thank you. Thanks for being on the show. Thank you for everything, man. It was good to be on here. Great talking with you.
You're awesome. Thank you, Russell. Have a good one. We'll look forward to
take care.
Checking out how you're doing. Thank you.
Yes, we'll keep in touch.
You got it, bud. Let's keep in touch. That's Russell Green, the Rocket. So that was cool. He's a very amazing guy, and he's super talented, and we're excited to watch Russell's progress. That guy can ride. I mean, the Rocket can ride like a rocket. He is fast, and he's just really developing so much. So we're really happy to have him at the beginning of the Northern California week, and we're going to have Dave Joyner coming on Tuesday, and we have Reese Todd on Wednesday evening, so you're not going to want to miss that. Thank you so much for watching this show with a Rocket. Russell Green, he's just a really talented guy, and he's fast. I mean, don't you agree that he's picking his game up, And we're so proud of Russell. We really are. And we just want him to keep going and getting better and better. And hopefully winning that United States AMA United States Championship would be really cool on his back. So thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for hanging out in the hive and just enjoying that. And we'll be back with another show on Tuesday with Dave Joyner. So we appreciate you visiting us. Stay on two wheels, no crashes, always be good, and we'll see you next race.